Hello again from my front porch. I had to make sure I slipped in an episode here, at least one. Hopefully I'll get in some others here, but I'm only home for 4 days, because I was in Denver early part this week, and coming up Monday, I'm on a plane again, and I'll be gone for a couple of weeks. And I'll still be doing some episodes though during that 2 weeks, especially the part where I'm going to be at the ATD International Conference and Expo, because I always love going to that. It's like a big family reunion for my training family, but this year is going to be extra special for me because not only am I presenting again, speaking again for the 4th year in a row, which blows my mind that being the case, again, because I can remember attending and looking at the people who get up and speak and thinking, wow, those people must be so smart. They must be so talented. They must be leaders of the industry. And now I know better. but so I'll be doing a presentation. I'll be doing a media press briefing thing related to my book, and doing an actual author book signing or an author meet and greet event at ATD's bookstore there at the event as well. Oh, and I also serve on ATD's Public Policy Advisory Council, and that group has put together their skills gap report, our skills gap report that comes out every 3 years, and I just happened to be on it this year, and that group's doing presentation, so I've been part of that too. And so all of that stuff going on, so it's going to be a very exciting ATD International Conference and Expo, or ICE as they call it for short, the acronym. And so I expect, between meeting up with old friends and spotlighting stuff going on in the book, I fully expect you're going to hear, you're going to have to endure some of that. But anyway, I'm doing the one here today because, well, again, I'm here on the front porch today. I'm able to do it today, but also because today was the morning was a little bittersweet. See, like I said, I was in Denver earlier this week, where I was meeting with my team, and the team that now reports to me, that I'm their leader, and having to map all that out. And that's, it's an interesting experience to walk into a situation where you now have employees who are reporting directly to you that you don't know. This is the first time you're actually getting a chance to truly connect. And at that same time, you're expected to give them guidance. You're expected to set parameters. You are setting expectations for the nature of what your relationship is going to be. All of that has to happen in that first initial time together. And it's like, okay, I hope I get this right. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark, and we'll see if it works. I think it actually did. I think it worked out, it turned out to be a really good 3 days out there in Denver, and got to spend time with them collectively, and then spend time with each of them individually, and talk through things and set in motion some accountability and future ongoing dialogue, weekly meeting kind of things, and doing some of that. But I was originally supposed to be there longer, actually, staying until today or Friday, but I was requested to be able to only make that 3 days. It turned out I think that was long enough. I think about it, I stayed longer than that, we would have run out of things that we needed to be doing. So that was sufficient. So that worked out anyway. But at the time, we didn't know that. We were just planning. But I wanted to be back in Des Moines this morning, because it was the quarterly Central Iowa Workforce Development Board meeting, an entity that I've been on for 5 years now, and have been deeply honored and very, very happy to be part of that. It is indeed a passion of mine. In fact, that's the reason I joined in the first place, was because of my passion for workforce development issues. When I first joined, this is the process for appointment to join the board has been adjusted a bit now, but when I first joined, it was a gubernatorial appointed position, which means you had to fill out an application for the governor or the governor's staff, but someone in the governor's office is supposed to then review, and based on your qualifications, the governor actually appoints you to the role, and that's what it was. And so when I started 5 years ago, it was a gubernatorial appointed position. And so I was honored to get that opportunity. But in my application materials, I made it very clear that I had a passion for this kind of stuff because, really there are two ways that you can survive, that you can make it through life. One is that you depend on the support of others, in many cases, government or other agencies. Now, in some cases, it's just private people, your family or whatever. But in most cases, those that feel they need support, that they need additional help to be able to make it through life, they look to government agencies or other entity agencies, and they get assistance from them. And there's nothing wrong with using those programs. I mean, in fact, I've been on those programs when I was first married and our kids were being born. I mean, we had nothing. We had hardly any money, and there was a great deal. We took advantage of many of those kind of programs. We made use of them. But we knew we did not want to stay on those programs. And so there did come a point where we made the decision to stop being on them and to move forward. And it's really funny because for many months after that, we kept getting calls from DHS wanting to verify, is everything going okay? And again, and I'm faulting them because it was nice of them to do that, but that they would call and they would say, is everything okay? But and almost like salespeople, they'd be saying, now we want to make you aware there's this new program that's been launched and we think that it might work for you. Do you want to consider this one? I mean, we'd be like, no, we're done now. But you see, here's the problem. Here's what I don't like about people having to live in that kind of a situation. Because even though there are these programs that can provide support, most of them, if not all of them to some extent, but generally the majority of them are income-based programs, because there's not enough money to help everybody that comes to the door. So there has to be a litmus test. There has to be a way for they to determine whether you are eligible or not. And one of the biggest ways to determine eligibility is how badly do you need it, which is determined based on how poor are you. I mean, that's logical. That's the way that would work out. Well, the problem is that means there's a cutoff line, that you have to be below the cutoff line to qualify for whatever the resources are, whether it's assistance with buying food or utilities or childcare, whatever it is, that you have to be below that line in order to be able to qualify. Okay, that's fine. But then on a monthly basis, you have to turn in paperwork that says, yep, I'm still below that line. Yep, I'm still below that line. Yep, I'm still below that line. Well, what happens if your job, you're doing well, and they say, we want to promote you, we want to give you a bonus, we want to give you a raise, whatever it is, it causes more money to be coming your way. And now here you are. So there was a bird, looked like it's going to fly right in my window. But he pulled up just the last minute. Good job, bird. But as I was saying, so there's a cutoff line, but you're right here. You're below the threshold, and then your employer says, well, we want to give you more money, and that moves you up here just above the threshold. Well, you might say, well, good for you, yay. No, not good for them, because even if it's just a little bit above that threshold, point is it's above the threshold, and so then the individual loses those benefits. They're gone instantly. There's no phasing it out. It's just gone. But the problem is, even though you're making more money, you're not making enough more money to be able to pay for all the benefits that you were depending on to survive. And so it is sadly not uncommon for individuals in that situation, especially where it's getting really close, for those individuals to decline more money, to turn down promotion opportunities, to request to not receive bonus. Why? Because their family cannot survive without those benefits they depend on, and so they can't risk being above that line. They will do what they need to do to stay below the line, to stay poor enough to be able to continue to get those benefits. Now, personally, I don't think that's a healthy way for someone to live. I don't think it's healthy for the individual, and it's definitely not healthy for our culture. But I am more of an advocate of helping individuals get on their own 2 feet, helping them stand up and be able to improve themselves. Don't tell me I want to make more. I want the minimum wage raised so that I can pay for a house and I can support my family and I can all the stuff I need to do making minimum wage. No. That doesn't resonate with me. What my response is, if you need to pay for all of those things, then we need to get you out of a minimum wage job. We need to get you into a role that pays an actual livable wage and that has benefits and that can help you advance yourself professionally. The problem is, most of the people who are in this situation would love to be in the scenario I've just talked about, but there's no way they can get there. Why? Because they don't have the education, they don't have the training, they don't have the credentialing, the licensing, whatever it is. And so they're here, they'd love to be there, but they can't. They can't just go there. They can't. That's where the workforce development folks come into play, and that's where my passion really has been. Because not the whole point, but a key point of the workforce development program is to help dislocated workers who've been laid off, let go, downsized, whatever, dislocated workers, underemployed workers, meaning people who actually do have a job, but it's a lesser job than what they are actually capable of doing or used to do. They've just taken it because they needed the income. Their unemployment benefits expired and they needed to make some money, and so they just settled for this job, but it's well below what they're capable of and well below the money that their family needs them to be making. So you got the dislocated, you got the underemployed, you got the disenfranchised, which could be people with disabilities or other issues that create obstacles, barriers that they need to help getting over in order to be able to get gainfully employed. Whatever. Those populations, people say, well, unemployment is at an all-time low, and so there shouldn't really be a need for workforce development. Wrong. There is still a huge need for workforce development. For the populations I'm just talking about now, and the underemployed is a huge one, because one of the reasons unemployment is so low is because we've stopped laying people off. We've stopped letting people go. And that number has gone down, fortunately. And so there aren't new active, or as many new and active requests for unemployment insurance, the unemployment checks. That is where that unemployment number comes from. It's not really based on the people who need to get a job. It's based on people who are getting unemployment benefits. Once your benefits expire, you're no longer counted as unemployed by that number, even if you are still unemployed. Or if you settle for a job working, flipping burgers at McDonald's for minimum wage, congratulations, you're employed. We no longer count you as unemployed, but you're grossly underemployed and you need to get into a role that is better suited for you. So anyway, all of those people, and then we have the immigrant and refugee populations that keep coming to Central Iowa as well, which I'm fine with. Don't have a problem with that. But these are individuals that, again, have barriers to being able to be successful job-wise. They may have been a huge success back home. I mean, they could have been a doctor. They could have been a lawyer. They could have been a teacher. They could have been anything. Skilled individuals here. But it's different here. They can't just walk into a school and say, I was a teacher back in my home country, I want to be a teacher here now. No, it doesn't work that way. So how do they get into that here? They're going to need help. They're going to need support. So anyway, workforce development, that's where it all comes in. And the reason I went off on that whole passionate tangent is because today was my final workforce development board meeting. Of course, I had to resign because of my job change, and I'm no longer working for an employer that is Iowa-based, let alone Central Iowa-based. And so I couldn't continue to represent the Central Iowa business community, sadly. And that meant that I needed to step down, both from the board itself and obviously then my role as chairperson of the Planning and Operations Committee. So I facilitated my portion of the agenda like I normally would today. And then the last item on my part of the agenda was to ask the board to approve appointing another member of the committee to take over as the new chairperson of planning and operations, explaining why it was done. And I was going to be cool. I was going to be really cool about the whole thing. And then they had to go and give me this. I was ready to move on the vote. They stopped me, and they had to go and give me this nice certificate, this recognition, and that did me in, because then I started, because then I felt obligated. I was surprised by it, and I went to express how important that organization has been to me, and how sad I am to be leaving, and a few tears may have been shed, and I'm not ashamed by that. I'm okay with that. I wasn't planning to do that, but I don't care. I don't mind, because the truth is, I am very passionate about that, and I will continue to be very passionate about the topic. And maybe wherever I end up landing, Fort Lauderdale or wherever, or even if I stay here, they'd love to have me come back and join in with them again. But I'm sure that eventually I will be re-engaged in that area in some capacity. But point is, I'm done, and they gave me this nice recognition, which I appreciated. Again, I wasn't expecting it, but I appreciated it. And now, if you are in the Central Iowa area, they need three members of the business community. Don't have to be from Des Moines or Polk County. There are 8 counties that represent that are represented by this region. And if you have and you don't have to attend in person, you can dial into the meetings. So it's not like you have to worry about, well, I don't think I made it to Des Moines. But seriously, if you've made it this far in this video, first of all, thank you. But that means you're at least interested either, well, you might just be interested in hearing me talk, but whatever. But hopefully it means you share some interest in the topic. And if that's the case, they could use you. They're trying to recruit 3 business people. They were looking for 2. Now they need 3. And they're looking for individuals who have passion for this, who want to help people do the things that I've described, to help ensure that those programs remain funded, those programs are efficient, those programs continue to function the way they should. That's what this board does oversight of, and so I would strongly encourage you to consider. And if you have questions, if you have interest, if you want to know how do you get more information, how do you apply, I'll be happy to help you. Just drop me a note. Seriously. I would love to be able to send some individuals their way and get some good, strong other individuals involved. So, all right, with that, I've babbled on plenty long enough. I hadn't really intended on going off on the passionate tangent there, but whatever. The point is that I am sad to have ended my time with the Central Iowa Workforce Development Board, and I'll just leave it at that, so I don't get all misty-eyed again out here. But it was a very rewarding time with an incredible group of people, and I will miss them dearly. All right, with that, I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.